What if I told you the most famous wall on Earth is hiding secrets that were never meant to be uncovered? The Great Wall of China, stretching across deserts, mountains, and valleys, over 13,000 miles long. But here's the question no one asks. Why was this wall really built? Was it only to stop invaders? Or was it also a prison, a graveyard, and a weapon of psychological warfare? Stay with me, because the truth about the Great Wall might just change the way you see human history. The Great Wall is often called a single wall, but that's a myth. In reality, it's a network of walls, trenches, and fortresses built over 2,000 years. Different emperors, different dynasties, different goals. Some sections were made of stone, others of tamped earth, reeds, even rice flour. It wasn't one project. It was a patchwork of human ambition, stitched across centuries. And here's the mystery. Why did emperors keep rebuilding it? If the wall was so strong, why did it need to be rebuilt over and over again? Was it because the wall wasn't enough to stop enemies? Or was it because each ruler wanted to carve his own legacy into the land? Think about it. A ruler dies, a new one rises, and suddenly an even bigger wall appears. The wall wasn't just defense, it was propaganda. A way for emperors to say, "Look how powerful I am. I can command mountains to stand in line." But behind that power was pain. History records that hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, of workers died building the wall. Soldiers, peasants, prisoners, and slaves were forced to labor in brutal conditions. Freezing winters, scorching summers, no proper tools, no proper food. And here's the chilling part. Legends say the dead were buried inside the wall itself. That the wall is a graveyard disguised as a monument. Archaeologists haven't found human remains inside the wall yet, but ancient texts and folk stories keep repeating the same tale. Every brick has a life in it. Imagine walking on top of stones, held together not just by mortar, but by human sacrifice. So the question is, was the wall really China's shield? Or was it a giant tomb built on the suffering of its own people? If you look closely at the wall, you'll see towers scattered like chess pieces. Some were watchtowers, some were fortresses, and some had darker purposes. Hidden passages, secret staircases, rooms designed for signaling with fire and smoke, an ancient communication system that could send a warning across miles in minutes. But here's the twist. Not all signals were for defense. Some were false alarms. Some were betrayals. History tells us that certain generals sold out their people, opening gates, sending false signals, inviting enemies inside. So maybe the wall wasn't just protecting China from outsiders. Maybe it was also dividing the insiders, keeping people controlled, monitored, and trapped within its shadows. We're told the wall was built to stop the Mongols, to keep the barbarians out. But did it really work? The truth is, the Mongols broke through again and again. They climbed over, they tunneled under, they bribed guards. In fact, Genghis Khan's descendants ruled China for nearly 100 years, despite the wall. So if it didn't stop the Mongols, then what was the point? Was the wall a failure? Or was it never really about military defense in the first place? Some historians now believe the wall's greatest power wasn't physical, it was psychological. Imagine standing at the edge of the desert, seeing a wall stretching beyond the horizon. It tells you, this is the edge of civilization. Cross it, and you will face the might of an empire. The wall wasn't just stone. It was fear carved into the earth. Here's something most people don't know. The wall wasn't only about soldiers, it was about money. By controlling the wall, emperors controlled trade along the Silk Road. Merchants had to pass through checkpoints. They had to pay taxes. They had to play by China's rules. So the wall was more than defense. It was business. It was control. It was a symbol that said, nothing enters or leaves this empire without permission. And even today, the wall still whispers that same message. It reminds us of a civilization that built something bigger than any ruler, any dynasty, or any enemy. So let's step back. The Great Wall wasn't just a wall. It was propaganda. It was sacrifice. It was betrayal. It was control. And maybe that's the greatest secret of all. The wall wasn't built to keep others out. It was built to keep power in. So next time, someone tells you the Great Wall is the only man-made structure visible from space, remember, the real truth is far more fascinating and far more chilling. Thanks for watching, explorers of history and mystery. This was Dusk and Times, where the past is never truly gone. It just waits for us to uncover it. If you enjoyed this journey, hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more stories the textbooks don't tell you. Stay curious, because history always has another secret.